with emerald waters, crystal clear, gliding over its white sand and lined with a tropical canopy. It's the incomparable Magens Bay Beach on the island of St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. It's been called one of the 10 most beautiful beaches in the world. Come, discover how Magens Bay Beach gained its world renown, how it's managed to hold on to its timeless beauty with the help of a man who invested both his wealth and his life, and how it has withstood the test of time. You'll discover the beauty, the beach. Magens Bay, beauty, and the beach.
I'm originally from Louisiana, but I've been living in St. Thomas for about 12 years now, and I love St. Thomas. When I come to the beach, I walk, I run, I pray. I just make it a full workout.
We are on our honeymoon together in St. Thomas. We're staying right down the road, and we met some people, and they came down to Magens Beach, and they were talking about how great it was and how beautiful it is and how clear the water is. So we decided to check it out. We love Magens Bay Beach.
Nestled in the Caribbean, on the island of St. Thomas, below lush green hills, is a bay shaped like a heart-shaped horseshoe. At the crest of its arch, a heart-shaped curve of sand, stretching out nearly 1 mile long. The essence of this pristine bay speaks to you. It is brimming with foliage along the beach's edge. So take a quiet moment to rest in the shade, reflect, and appreciate the beauty that abounds. Magens Bay Beach has been a destination for residents, cruise ship, and hotel guests over 500,000 per year.
I live here in the islands, basically all my life, and I really enjoy coming to Magens Bay because it's clean, it's organized, and it's safe. And that's one of the most important things. Magens Bay is safe. So, to the tourists, we say welcome to our islands.
We just arrived, so this is the first time we were here. We were just talking about the fact that it was so peaceful. We obviously love the clear water. We're from the east coast of the U.S., North Carolina, but grew up in the Northeast where everything's kind of muddy looking. So we really like the cleanness of this and then just the peacefulness of the cove.
The water is very clear and it feels like you're swimming in a pool because there aren't any waves or anything. And I really like the cliffs surrounding it. It's very green.
How many million do I need to buy this beach? I'm gonna.
It's not for sale.
I'm gonna raise the money right now.
I live in Estate Miscount, U.S. Virgin Islands, which is right up here overlooking Magens Bay. We love Magens Bay because it's a great place to bring our kids.
The Magens Bay Authority oversees the beach, ensuring their guests continued enjoyment, all the while maintaining its allure.
This is a place that approximately 500,000 people come through every year.
On an average, we do maybe 500 people a day. In the season, we could do as many as 1,500 people.
In the summertime and major holidays, we have more kids. As the population grows, so does impact on Magens Bay.
We have facilities such as the sheds that you can have picnics on. We have all the bathroom facilities. It's very pristine, very clean. We also have the Arboretum, which you can use for camping, for the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. It's very enjoyable for everyone.
The concession is a full-scale concession, so they have floating mats and lounge chairs. We have a kayak and paddle boat concession at the far eastern end of the beach. People enjoy that immensely.
Magens Bay Beach is a public park and recreation area.
Today we're coming for entertainment, our families, and different family friends and then families. We come here every Sunday to play softball, play domino, and play card by the Magen Bay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Magens Bay is the most beautiful beach in the world. It consists of 68 acres, which include the beachfront, the Coconut Grove, which is about 7 acres, the Arboretum, which is 5 acres, and also it includes the mangrove, which is about 15 acres. And then about 2 years ago, we acquired 10 more acres. That's the physical aspect of the beach.
Magens Bay Park is one of the oldest Amerindian habitation sites in the Virgin Islands. Magens Bay has been excavated over the decades, and human burials and artifacts that span several thousand years have been documented. During the colonial period, enslaved Africans worked the plantations. Among the ruins on the Magens Bay Park are a great house, a factory, and slave quarters. Magens Bay was donated to the people of the Virgin Islands nearly 60 years ago by philanthropist Arthur S. Fairchild. Fairchild was born in the late 1800s. He first came to St. Thomas in 1916 when he was a board member of the New York Stock Exchange. This was 1 year before Denmark sold the Danish West Indies to the United States.
I was born in England, but my family moved to the United States while I was a boy. I gained considerable fortune in investment banking and brokerage firms in my youth. Young and single, I was free to travel all around the world. I eventually chose St. Thomas. I first came to St. Thomas in 1916 after reading a book by Margaret Agassiz that described Estate Louisenhoy as an old castle atop the mountain overlooking the harbor Charlotte Amalie. Though I traveled all over the world, I was taken by this beautiful spot. I bought Estate Louisenhoy and other adjacent sites. This breathtaking estate became my new home.
Magens Bay was a beautiful discovery for Fairchild. He beheld pristine shores protected by a calm cove. In that cove, he found the ruins of the 18th century plantation by the name of Zufriedenheit. At Zufriedenheit, the great house was named for Louisa Magens Rhodes, daughter of the prominent Danish family that owned the land adjacent to the beach. The estate was called Louisenhoy. This is footage never seen before inside the Louisenhoy Castle estate, where Arthur Fairchild lived.
It took me 19 years to build my Louisenhoy castle, using choice stone and carvings from the ruins of an old Danish chateau that was constructed as far back as 1735. I also used a collection of stones from Ireland, the south coast of Bali, the Colosseum in Rome, the Rock of Gibraltar, the Temple of Zeus in Syria and in Athens, and the Great Pyramid Cheops in Egypt.
These are spectacular views from inside Fairchild's bedroom, where he even had a gun slot to protect the estate. In keeping with the mystique, charm, and reclusiveness of Fairchild, we are unable to film inside the Louisenhoy Castle, but we are allowed to show his extensive Italian garden in his backyard that overlooks Magens Bay.
This castle had become my private hideaway. I didn't like publicity, so I didn't allow Louisenhoy to be photographed. I invited guests who would appreciate the castle's amazing collections, courtyards, and tower. The word servi, meaning welcome, appears at the entrance of my gate. My guest list of visitors included Herbert Hoover, Viscount Van Leukner, and Alexander Graham Bell. I invited local residents to the landscape gardens once a week for 4 hours on Mondays, but the tower and interior were not open to the public. This allowed Louisenhoy to continue to be my private residence.
Fortunately, I knew Arthur Fairchild personally as a young boy because I was born at the gatehouse at his estate at Louisenhoy. All of my family, my father was the caretaker for his estate for 35 years.
The part of the castle, which is the area right off the road as you make the turn to go, that was the house of Nelstrup, and the Nelstrups lived. And visiting them, when I say my family, my father and the rest of the family, visiting them on a Sunday afternoon was a ritual, which again we enjoyed very, very much. My father and Mr. Fairchild were very good friends. They spent many, many hours just talking about the islands and life in general. They would primarily meet up at the castle at Mr. Fairchild's home, or maybe even on the beach, or just overlooking properties that were his that he had acquired. They would find a nice vista, so to speak, and they would sit there and enjoy it. My father was an avid reader and an avid writer. Mr. Fairchild was also. So they exchanged a lot of the knowledge that they gained from their readings, and they would talk about the influences that so many people had, writers, be they music, be they others, who made a great impression on either and both of them.
Magens Bay, up until then, was hidden from the world, but Arthur Fairchild decided to bring the world to Magens Bay. When Fairchild purchased the land in 1919, there was close to 900 acres. His plan was to use the Great House as a greenhouse. He brought in plants from around the world, introducing them to the virgin soil. Arthur Fairchild was also a pilot. He traveled around the world to find the most exotic plants, from the botanical gardens of New York all the way to Calcutta. He gathered plants and seeds, destination St. Thomas, and an exotic garden.
Fairchild loved to talk about his world travels, and which he did every year, conveyed to my father what he saw, and again, their conversations just went on and on and on for hours.
The forest area Fairchild developed is called an Arboretum. It is teeming with foliage and wildlife. Visitors who meander through its trails discover Fairchild's treasure, the preservation of nature.
He was a philanthropist. He helped many people in the community to go to college, and he was getting a little older, and he wanted to do something for the people. Unselfishly, he donated the Magens Bay property to the people of the Virgin Islands.
It was deeded to the people of the Virgin Islands in perpetuity by Mr. Fairchild, a very far-sighted individual.
On December 27, 1946, I stood slightly nervous looking amongst a large crowd that had gathered at Government House to hear my speech about giving Magens Bay to the people. I read from my 2-page manuscript. It was not until I had lived at Louisenhoy for some years that I began to wonder whether the average untraveled St. Thomian really realized the relative value of the beauty of his island as compared to that of other places. Please understand that if that was so, it was nothing to be surprised at, for the natural surroundings one has grown up with are taken for granted as commonplace. The actual fact is that from any point that combines the beauty of Magens with the view of Sir Francis Drake's Channel, named, by the way, for his exploit there in the year 1595, is of very rare beauty, and that is the reason why its appreciation and preservation should have unanimous support of every citizen of this island. The very next year, on April 22nd, 1947, I presented a deed of conveyance to transfer Magens Bay to the Park Authority. The deed of conveyance stated my intention that the donated estate, a major portion of Magens Bay and 58 acres of land, is to be maintained as a public park for the use of the people of the Virgin Islands in perpetuity, without discrimination of any kind as to race, color, creed, or natural origin. My desire is to forever preserve the extraordinary beauty of the bay and its surrounding hills, to allow those slopes to be deprived of their well-wooded covering, to treat them otherwise than according to a general plan, or to utilize them for any commercial purpose, would have resulted, I believed, in the loss by our island of its greatest asset.
In February 1951, millionaire and philanthropist Arthur S. Fairchild became ill and was confined to bed. At age 65, he died at his home in Louisenhoy Castle. His body was later sent to Boston, where he was buried in the family cemetery. With his great donation, Fairchild lives on in the people and the culture of the Virgin Islands.
It's absolutely unthought of to donate something like this, and then to have it open to the public for everybody just to come to and to enjoy. Wow. We heard about the beach because we're with some people from Kentucky who have been here. This is their second time being here, and this is the beach that they recommended. You can just enjoy the water, the sun, relax.
I worked here for 32 years, and I was in a lifeguard, and I moved up to management, and I'm back at this beach every day. I come here and relax, and sit down and gaze out on the horizon. I hope that everybody could come here and enjoy it just like how I am enjoying it.
We came here a year before last, and it was the best stop we made. First time I ever snorkeled, and loved it. It's peaceful, it's clear, white sands, friendly people. The fish are friendly too.
Once you come here once, you absolutely have to come back again. It's a total sin not to come back here again.
I have been coming to Magen since the 40s. I swim, I walk in the water a little bit, I get a little exercise, I sun, work on my tan, I read a lot. I bring my great-granddaughter, she's 5, and my youngest granddaughter, who's 15. We're all beach people. We just have a wonderful time every day, all day.
Magens Bay is fun, family-oriented, clear, calm, just an awesome beach.
I've been a taxi driver, meet a lot of people from all walk of life. I love it here, and we appreciate the people here, the taxi drivers and the people that manage the beaches here.
I'm a taxi driver. I work at Magens Bay. Ship or no ship, we're here every day.
I'm on the ship right now, coming back from a 7-day cruise, and I wanted to stop at Magens Bay. It's one of my favorite beaches on the planet.
I picked this beach because it's close to home. Very close to home that I can come down here anytime and do my workout.
I'm from Dublin, Ireland. We came to Magens Bay Beach because we heard it was fantastic, and it has lived up to everything we heard about.
To keep Magens Bay's 68 acres clean, safe, and running well, it takes a staff of 20, led by the Magens Bay management team.
The actual physical management of the beach is by one general manager, an assistant manager, an office manager, and 18 employees, which consist of gatekeepers, custodians, groundkeepers, lifeguards. We also hire off-duty police officers for security on the beach. We've been doing this for 10 years.
One of the main responsibilities is keeping the beach safe for all to enjoy. It's amazing the amount of things that we provide here in the park. They could come in to walk, jog. Some people bring their bicycles over here. They can come in to swim and just to meet with friends. We offer clean sheds where you could have a birthday party. You could have a gathering, a church gathering. We're promoting Magens Bay as a stress-free environment. We're asking everyone who come to Magens Bay to become a friend of Magens Bay Park. Don't destroy the plants. Don't remove any natural resources that you find when you come to visit the park. Be a friend of the park in terms of taking care of the vegetation and helping us to maintain the natural beauty of this park.
The management team gets their direction from the Magens Bay Authority. Many of those board members date back to 1952 when the board was originally formed.
We're a self-perpetuating board. Mr. Fairchild made it non-political.
I was here with the first Magens Bay Authority that he created. He stipulated who should be on the original authority. 7 members, including the governor.
A lot of credit has to be given to Mr. Jowers and Mr. Penn. I mean, those two people really did a lot in order to ensure the proper management and maintenance of the beach.
My first thought of joining the Magens Bay Authority just slipped in under me. I didn't know what I was getting into until I got in. I knew about it, but I didn't know what was involved until I got in.
Aubrey Neltrop, he is today chairman of the Magens Bay Authority.
The daily work of maintaining the beach consists of waste management, grooming the grounds, and landscaping. From time to time, beach facilities like restrooms need renovation. The management ensures that facilities are maintained and repaired. From the start, and for almost 50 years, the work of maintaining the beach was done with the support of the Virgin Islands government. By the late 1990s, the Magens Bay Authority reached self-sufficiency. By then, UVI, Rotary Club, and groups began to lend a hand.
The Nature Conservancy got involved with Magens Bay about 10 years ago in 1999. Our office has been here since 1992, and so the Magens Bay Preserve became ours in 1999, and we've been managing it ever since. The Nature Conservancy works with the Magens Bay Authority as well as the government of the Virgin Islands to help protect the watershed of Magens Bay. Magens Bay is valued not only for its natural beauty as a tourist destination, but also for the unique wildlife, including the corals that are in the bay, the bird species, the fish species, as well as all of the plants and animals that live within the watershed of Magens Bay. So the Nature Conservancy, working with the Magens Bay Authority and the Virgin Islands government, aims to increase the education and outreach for the stakeholders, for the people who live in the bay, who rely on the bay, who visit the bay, to restore and protect the natural beauty and the biodiversity within the bay.
Magens Bay created a setting like no other, and the Coconut Grove at Magens Bay once served as the backdrop and setting for a conference of U.S. governors.
This is the first time that we had a governor's conference here. They had the conferences on the ship and so forth. But there was a beach party. The Magens Bay had a big function for them and so on. It was held on the beach. And just about every governor from every state came here. Some of them later became presidents of the United States, like Reagan. He was here and he liked it. But it was a good conference.
From the time each visitor approaches the gatehouse, Magens Bay plant life is all around them. A grassy crescent demarcates the recreation area from the lush backdrop of the trees and trail. There is also wetlands fed by a hilly watershed. A watershed is a natural formation that channels rainfall. From as far back as the 1920s, Arthur Fairchild cleared and planted in the Arboretum.
An arboretum is an area where large trees grow that are indigenous to the island or have been imported from other parts of the world and grow naturally in this habitat. It has to be an area that has quite a bit of rainfall to support the large trees as we see here. Some of them are 80, 90 feet tall. And it's an area that you could come in and enjoy. It's very cool and it's very safe.
People come from all over just to walk through various areas, the Coconut Grove, the Arboretum.
It was established by the father of our present chairman, Mr. Audrey Neltrop. His father was quite a man.
Well, these coconut groves that we're under are 80 years plus, believe it or not. If you want to really authenticate it, you could count the little grooves on them. In the Arboretum, which is on the south side of the beach, which is 5 acres, and it have trees from all over the world planted there. When Mr. Fairchild went into any tropical areas similar to the Virgin Islands, he brought back tropical trees like many types of mahoganies, palms, and a lot of other exotic plants that exist. We're the only place in the Virgin Islands that have trees in the Arboretum that are 80 feet tall. It's like a rainforest, which is very unique for the Virgin Islands. And they have existed through all of the hurricanes, which is really also unique.
To maintain its splendor, the Magens Bay staff replants, replenishes, and saves the stock of trees. When a tree is diseased or gets old and dies, a new tree is put in its place. The natural wonders found along the fringes of the beach have been studied in part by the Cooperative Extension Service at the University of the Virgin Islands.
We have been studying the environment at Magens Bay for over 30 years. The long, beautiful beach at Magens Bay is internationally known for its clear, turquoise water and white sand. And as you can see, the scenery is spectacular. The coastal forest along the beach has many interesting native trees. Some trees are relatively uncommon, like the delicate peppercillamant or keneel tree with its spicy, aromatic leaves that were once added to bath water. Some of the most common native trees are sea grape with its edible grape-like fruit, and Haiti or cork tree that is related to hibiscus. The marble tree is also common, and its hard, yellow, inedible fruits were once used to play marbles. Coconut palms are not native, but Fairchild added them to this natural landscape for their monumental beauty and edible fruit. Native epiphytic or air plants can be seen growing on branches in the canopies of the coastal forests along the beach. Tillandsias, also known as air plants, are epiphytic bromeliads that grow in trees, and rarely an autograph tree, also known as strangler fig, can be seen growing on another tree. Along the rocky coast that line the bay, water-storing, succulent plants have adapted to the dry conditions. This cactus, it's a native cactus known as Miss Blyden, has a beautiful pink fruit that was once used to make a drink. Succulent plants like pipe organ cacti, agaves, known as century plants, and the mat-like herb sea purslane grow in the rocks. Magens Bay is also well known for its wetlands habitats that form in flat coastal areas where rainwater collects from the hillsides. Wetlands are protected by Virgin Islands law. Magens Bay has one of the largest mangrove swamps on island. The road behind the beach crosses over a mangrove lagoon where mangrove plant species can be seen, including red mangrove. Red mangrove, recognized by its aerial prop roots, is the most seaward growing of the 4 mangrove tree species found in the Virgin Islands. The other mangrove trees, black mangrove, white mangrove, and buttonwood, are also found at Magens Bay, especially near the lagoon. The coconut grove is now a mixture of mature coconut palms and newer native trees that are part of the natural forest. Many other trees were planted in this area, and they are all thriving, thanks to the Magens Bay landscaping crew.
The Magens Bay setting forms a habitat for feathered friends and those of the four-footed kind. Those who walk the beach early in the morning catch the daily reveille coming from the trees. Dogs and cats are not welcome at Magens Bay. This is to accommodate the birds and ducks and the iguanas, the mongoose, and other animals.
Magens Bay is really beautiful, and I'm glad that it's now preserved as a little sanctuary. There's an arboretum up along the watershed is now protected. A trail has been built, the Magens Bay Discovery Trail, and that's a good little exercise. We'll walk up the trail and come back down the trail. Along that path you see many different species of birds and wildlife, such as the egrets, the greenback heron, or little blue heron. You will see the banana quits, or the brown-throated parrot, or the parakeets. That is all in this area. I like to come here bird watching. My favorite birds out here at Magens Bay is the American kestrel, which is a small version of falcon, the smallest of the falcons. Locally, people know it as the kili or the sparrowhawk. And then also you would see sometimes the northern mockingbird. That's another species of bird that's one of my favorites because it sings and it gives you a whole variety of melodies. So I very much love that bird. Of course, you got a poly-eyed thrusher, which is a regular out here at Magens. Along the seashore, we have the brown pelicans, brown boobies, and the different terns. Rosette, royal, those are two famous ones that are normally in the area. This is how our wildlife out here should be, and we got to protect it. It's God's creation.
Beauty, tranquility, majesty.
Early in the morning and late at night, it seems to renew itself and become this very calm, beautiful place where anybody can come and just become restored.
And peacefulness.
Magens Bay is a spiritual place where you connect with nature.
It's more peaceful here than all the other beaches.
Magens Bay has even been described as a doorstep to heaven.
I have come in many times and stood there, sometimes alone, sometimes with others. I said, this must be the doorstep to heaven.
The whole island is paradise, but Magens Bay represents a big slice of it.
I love Magens Bay.
It's one of the best times I've ever had in my life.
We hope that you will come down, utilize the facilities, have a great time, but leave it the way you found it.
Come and enjoy the beauty that Magens Bay has to offer. Thank you for coming. Please come again.